Okay, what's going on, y'all? So I'm pretty sure this is something that a lot of you might want to hear about if you haven't heard about it already. Um, First thing I want to say is rest in power to our sister Charleena Lyles, who was murdered by those who are supposed to protect and serve. And it seems as though that the police are only trying to protect themselves and serve the black man and black woman on a gurney to do whatever they want to do to us, whether that be organ harvesting or melanin draining or whatever. So getting right into this article, I'm going to leave it in the description box. Yesterday, Charleena Lyles, a pregnant Seattle mother of 3 children, reported an attempted burglary in her home. Police arrived and subsequently shot her to death in front of her children after she displayed a knife. Lyles, who reportedly struggled with mental health difficulties, may well have taken some kind of threatening action, but would a reportedly tiny woman brandishing a knife pose such a threat to 2 male police officers that deadly force would be justified? A 2011 Department of Justice report found that Seattle police routinely engage in excessive use of force. This section seems especially telling. SPD officers escalate situations and use unnecessary or excessive force when arresting individuals for minor offenses. This trend is pronounced in encounters with persons with mental illnesses or those under the influence of alcoholic drugs. In response to the report, the city implemented sweeping reforms under a court-ordered consent decree. The reforms have reportedly worked. Use of force and crime both dropped, while injuries to police officers were either flat or slightly lowered. The shooting of Lyles might indicate that reforms have not fully transformed the culture of Seattle's police. On the other hand, the reforms are also the one thing the city can hold up to assure people of color that it takes their concerns seriously and there is a chance for progress. That is an argument the Trump administration seems determined to snatch away. Trump ran as a militant advocate of untrammeled uh, prerogative for law enforcement. Jeff Sessions, Trump's attorney general, attacked the Obama-era Department of Justice for supposedly handcuffing police and demoralizing them. Sessions announced in April that he was undertaking a sweeping review of consent decrees that the Department of Justice had obtained from police departments. The tragic shooting of Charleena Lyles ought to be a moment of reflection on the question of whether police reform is moving quickly and thoroughly enough in Seattle and elsewhere. But the consequences of the president and his attorney general will remain at best untroubled. And that is the end of that article. Okay, hold on for a second. Okay, so let me go over this again. Let me just skim through this again. it was something that was said. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is the whole mental issue thing. Whenever there's a situation with us and the police are involved, there's always a mental. They always bring this mental health difficulty. They always pull that health difficulty charge, or mental health difficulty card. They always pull that card on us as though we that we're just fucked up in the head. And indeed we are. Many of us who have not rehabilitated ourselves to our original state of consciousness suffer from mental illness because we have an African mind, or a mind that is not Eurocentric, trying to process Eurocentric perception. And that is not how we process. That's just not how our brain works. Okay? On a spiritual and scientific level, that's just not how our brain operates. When we talk about mental issues, we can talk about other mental issues such as cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, and drapetomania. A lot of these things I have heard black people talk about and only mention once on videos of the said mental disorders. Okay, we know that cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome are those mental illnesses that are displayed by those who want to live in a Eurocentric society, Eurocentric laws, and those who suffer from drapetomania are those that want to get away from that way of life. You know what I'm saying? We want to get away from the Eurocentric way of living, the Caucasian's way of living. But it's kind of hard to, it's really hard for me, when I look at it from my perspective based on those mental illnesses, that if we are able to rehabilitate ourselves to our original state of consciousness, there will be more hell for us worse than what's going on now, simply because we are going to be reviving that energy that we summoned during those early 1900s when we created Black Wall Street in our own, black communities. It was because we were forced to, do that. And, it was out of necessity. Now black people are beginning to wake up, and the increase in cop killing African Americans is increasing. It's on the rise. More than, since Trayvon Martin was, killed, George Zimmerman back in 2012. The statistics, they continue to speak for our situation. And because the Caucasian trust more in statistics than they do, actual facts. It's their form of facts. Only based on X amount of cities that have been researched instead of where people are actually living. Like where I live, is more of the opposite of what I would care to address, that here in Shreveport, there aren't a lot of cop killings. But there's really no cop killings, and when there is a killing involved where there's a citizen and a cop, it's always the cop that gets killed. Majority of the time, and then there's more white people that are killed down here, by blacks, than there is white on white crime, and with black on black crime being the worst because of gangs and sets and this, that, and third. But on a global scale, we know what the truth is. We know that whites are the leading murderers in the country. And with cops also doing it, it doesn't make it any better. But I had to address that. The second thing that I wanted to address was, we know that the cops that killed her are most definitely going to be on trial for this. And just like Geronimo Yanez just got off of Philando Castile's murder, and then the police department said that they would fire him or whatever, but that's not the justice that should be served. The justice that was supposed to have been served has been passed up, and he got off. You can fire him, but he can go somewhere else and find a job and kill another black person. But this sister is not going to see justice. And that's just the reality of the black situation. I'm sorry. Well, we as black people, we have to face that reality that that whenever a cop is whenever there's a death of a black person where the officer is the murderer, they are going to get off, and it seems as though that they are waiving these murders until there is a law set in place that gives them the right to actually kill, without being charged. I really believe that there is a law that is in the works that is going to make it part of their job to just kill and not see any kind of court case or any kind of charges filed against them, because it's their job to have a gun. It's their job to eliminate a threat based on their perception of what the threat may be. So basically, I hate to say it, but we're doomed. As far as police brutality is concerned, white people, they continue to say that that they are the ones who are being killed by police the most. We have yet to see that, because even if that is true, why is it that when we created Black Lives Matter, you created Blue Lives Matter? Obviously, blue lives don't give a shit about your lives if you are the ones who are being killed more than us. Okay, why would you even support Blue Lives Matter if they're killing more of your people, more of the Caucasian people, than they're killing our people, black people. That doesn't make any sense. But I hate to say it, we have seen too many police get off. There have even been cases that haven't even made it to the media where police were let off of murder charges. Even down here in Louisiana, there were 2 black cops who accidentally killed I believe he was 6 years old, 4 years old, little white boy. And I believe one of them was sentenced to 40 years in prison. But look at how they will send the blacks to jail. Black police for murdering accidentally a little white boy. But Ayanna Jones, her murderer, walks free. Our little brother Tamir Rice from Cleveland, his murderer walks free. There's a part in Juwanza Kunjufu's book, the conspiracy to countering the conspiracy to destroy black boys. There's a part in there that talks about when they're no longer viewed as cute. I'm not going to speak on that in this video, but when white people saw that little white boy's picture, that's what angered them. That's what pissed them off the most, was that this is a little cute white boy. See, white boy versus black boy, he's going to be cute until he reaches age 18. Our sons, and this hurts me the most because my son is 4. Right around that age, that's when our boys stop looking cute, or stop being cute to American society. It's fucked up. I mean, it's a fucked up situation. And I hate the fact that, what's going to end up happening, what I feel is going to end up happening is that the system knows that they're wrong. So probably in order to avoid the officers who killed this sister, going to court, standing trial, they're gonna pay him off. It's like Sandra Bland, just like our brother Freddie Gray's family was paid off. I believe Corrine Gaines' family was paid off. Every single one of these murders where they know, where it actually looks as though the officer won't win the case, but we already know that they will. They are going to pay the family off millions of dollars to shut them up, just so they won't try to investigate the so that they won't investigate the murder further. I know some of you probably don't remember the Lavina Johnson story, where she was murdered, or the way that it was explained to the family was that she committed suicide, and they could have been paid, but they could have kept quiet about it. But a lot of these families need to be like Lavina Johnson's family. They didn't accept what the military told them. They dug their daughter back up and had an autopsy done on her body, and saw that she had been raped, we screwed y'all. And that's the harsh reality that we have to face. The only way that we come together, the only way that we can beat this is if we come together. And the only way that we can come together is if we repatriate ourselves, rehabilitate ourselves to our original state of consciousness, Africanness, Moorish science, Hebrew Israelite, whatever you adhere to, whatever religious or doctrinal background that you follow, if you feel that was your original consciousness before slavery, rehabilitate yourself to the best part of that, so that we can work together as black people here in this country, build ourselves an economic base, become economically independent, so that we can build financial wealth for our descendants. You see what I'm saying? That is the only way that we can defeat this system. The only way that we can defeat this system. The only way that we can get at least equal rights, because there will never be peace on this planet. No matter what religion you follow, there will never be peace. You may have peace in the confines of where you are, but when you step outside of those confines, you're going to step into a place of no peace. And that's just real talk. There will never be peace on this planet. Stop searching for that. You can always have inner peace. You can have peace within yourself. But as far as on this planet, on this surface, there is no Jesus coming back. You can squash all that. There will never be peace on the surface of this planet, in the depths of the ocean of this planet. No volcanoes, no caves. There's no peace nowhere on this planet. We have to get at least equal rights and some type of justice, like our ancestor Peter Tosh tells us. Okay? So, let me know what y'all think, man. I'm gonna end this video, man. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.